A figured dance succeeds, such once was seen, in lofty Knossos for the Cretan queen, formed by Daedalian art, a comely band of youths and maidens, bounding hand in hand. What myths do we know? What myths don't we know? This short comic, of which the cover you are seeing painted, explores the deepest threads that someone can pull when regarding Greek myths. Ariadne, a divine pre-Mycenaean goddess, or just a character in the story of an Athenian founder hero? The earliest mention of the figure that we know of as Ariadne is mentioned within the Iliad, 400 to 200 years prior to the myth of Theseus and the Minotaur, mentioning that Daedalus made the labyrinth for her as a dancing path. The line that the theory comes from being the one at the opening of this video. That makes her oral tradition, from which the Iliad and Odyssey were composed, likely far older. You see, the works attributed to Homer were constructed from the various oral stories and traditions of different bards from around the Aegean Sea. So we can infer that whatever is within these ancient texts to be older than their written counterparts. Thomas G. Palima notes in his Appendix 1, Linear B Sources, of sacrifices of olive oil being made to a lady of the labyrinth recorded at Knossos on Crete around the time of 1400 to 1200 BCE, about 1000 to 800 years prior to the myth of Theseus slaying the great beast. Who is this lady of the labyrinth? This Dabritojo Potonija? And no, I have no idea if I pronounced that correctly. Scholarship isn't sure who she is, but we know its translation, the aforementioned Lady of the Labyrinth. The imagery here is of a coin dated to Greek settlements on Crete to around 500 BCE, showing that Resins knew of the labyrinth long enough for it to be on coins. Yet we don't know how or why. We don't even know what the Minoans called themselves. We can't read their writing. We call them Minoans only because of the myth of the Minotaur and King Minos. The embellishments on the bottom of horns that are those thought to have adorned Minoan temple palaces and other important structures. Taking the time to now theorize, I would like to propose that Ariadne was a representation of Crete itself. See, the myth of the Minotaur is a specific Greek myth about Crete, but if we gaze upon what artifacts and recreation we have, there's no bull-man hybrids from the island, only art of the bull itself, which isn't unusual considering how many Mediterranean religions have bull iconography, from the sacred Apis bull of Kemet, or Egypt, or the golden calf from the Old Testament. I would like to propose that Ariadne is a native goddess to the island, and that her taking by Theseus is the act of showing Athenian dominance of the island, most likely from the Delian League. Perhaps the other additions where Dionysus comes to take her to Olympus once Theseus abandoned her was a way of preserving her deific status to quell the locals. It's kind of like how old pagan gods are made into saints, such as Bridget in Ireland. But that is all conjecture on my part, a bit of fun while poking in the shadows of ages past. The truth is, until we crack the code that is linear A, we'll likely never know for sure. And those conjectures and thought experiments are part of why I engage in this medium and history and mythology, and why I wrote a short comic about it. 8 pages of a poem to Our Lady of the Labyrinth. And with all this in mind, can you tell me, what myths do we truly know? And will we ever know what myths we don't? Thank you for your time.
Hi there. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate the time you've taken to watch this. If you would like to join others like Beck 3D, Outlander, and S. Nepley over on my Patreon, you can read the comic that this cover is painted for right now. You also get access to my entire library of work, and you'll be able to watch my videos early and ad-free. I hope to see you there, and thank you so much for your support.